Okay, welcome to the first AutoCAD introductory tutorial. We're just going to start by doing a pretty simple orthogonal drawing of this block, which you see here. I've already done it as a practice, so I'm just going to select it. Sorry, I just press the escape key, click once, drag up to the top left-hand corner, click again on your left mouse button and press delete to delete everything. So this is really the drawing we want to replicate. It's already dimensioned and it's got different layers. First tool we're going to use up here on the desktop is the line tool. So if you hover over it, it'll create a line. It'll show you how to use the line. We're just going to select it. You'll notice that in the command line here, it's got line specify first point. So it wants to know where we want to start our line. So we're just going to drag out away from here. You can notice it tracks a point. We're going to come out about here somewhere. And our first dimension, you can see up here is 130. So we make sure we're perfectly horizontal. We type in the dimension 130 and then the enter key to confirm that. The height of it is 45. Now I actually hadn't put the dimension on there, so it is 45. So I'm just going to go into the vertical plane and press 45 and enter. And then I'm going to track a line across. Now I could type in 130, the dimension again, or I could just simply track a point. So I'm just going to go down to that end point and you can see it tracks a line across and it'll lock into that coordinate. So I'm just going to left click again and click on the end point and then press the space bar once because it's still attached. So that space bar is this escape key. If I press the key again, it repeats the previous command, which is line. So I don't need to go back up to here. It's going to already repeat that command. So I could just go down here, but I actually want a 35mm space between these two objects. So what I'm going to do is come up to this button here, which is called the offset command. And I click on the offset command and it says down here, specify distance. So I want there to be a 35mm space between these two. So I'm going to press 35 and enter. And then you'll notice the cursor changes from crosshairs to a square. So I click once on the bottom line and I drag my cursor down. You can see it wants to put it below the line. So I click again and it offsets a line exactly the same length. I want to offset the height of the object now, which is now 45mm high. So I'm going to go back to the offset command. And this time you can see it's defaults to its previous setting. So at the moment it's still set for 35. I want it to be 45. So I'm going to press 45 and then enter. And then I'm going to click on this line and click below it. And now it's offset it to 45. I want to create a line to finish off these 2 points. So I'm going to click on line, go to the end point, opposite end point, and then press the space bar to escape. And then I'm going to press the space bar one more time to repeat the command to draw another line, and press escape to end. So now I've got basically a rectangle. So all I've got to do is cut these sections out of my block. So the easiest way to do it is really just to use the offset and trim commands. Okay, so if I go back to this dimension here, it says that the height of that is to this line here, which is 15 plus that is 5, so it's 20mm. So I'm going to offset down 20mm. So all I need to do is go to my offset, type in 20, enter, and then I'm going to click on that line, and now it offsets that line down 20mm. I now want to offset so I can get these lines. So it's going to be offset at 35, the distance from the end in, and then 25. So I'm just going to click on offset again, press in 35 for the first dimension. Click on the line, click on the line and offset. And then I'm going to offset again, but this time I want to go 25. So 25, enter. Escape. I've got to press the offset key. 25, enter, and now click on my line. Okay, escape. Now I want to trim. I want to get rid of these lines here because I don't actually want them, and I want to get rid of that line, so I've got that little opening. So now I'm going to go up to this button here, which is the trim key. So I'm going to click on trim, and now before I can trim, I need to right click my mouse. So right click on the mouse, and now I can select the line that I want to trim out. So I'm going to click on that line. I can select multiple lines by clicking once and dragging, and then clicking again. It gets rid of those lines. Or I can click on the line, whatever you find easiest. So now I've got this section taken away. I may as well do this section down here. So you can tell that it's been offset 75 and then 20. So I need to go back to offset 75, type in 75, enter. I'm going to go back from this end, and I'm going to offset there, and then I'm going to go back and offset the opening, which is 20 mil, enter, offset again, escape, and now the height of it is 20 mil. So once again, I'll offset 20 mil. Now if I click on offset, you can see that it's already set to 20, so I don't need to do anything except press enter key to confirm I want to offset 20 mil, and then click. Alright, go back to my trim command, so click once, left click, and then right click, and then click on the line. Click and drag to get rid of these lines. Click and drag, just click on that line. So now I've got this section removed. Okay, so now all I've got to do is this little rebate in the corner. So it's 5 mil deep and it's 10 mil wide. Okay, so obviously I'm just going to offset. Well, actually another way to do it would be just to draw it. So I could click on line. I could go to the end point and not click, just go to the end point and drag across and type in 10 and then enter. And now the line will start 10 mil in from the end. So that's another way to do it. Type in 5 to the depth and then go across to the end point and escape. I'll just undo that. Control Z to undo and do it again so you can see. So click on line. I hover over the end point. Don't click, just drag the line across. You can see it's tracking a point. Type in 10 mil, which is the distance I want the line to start in from, and then drag down so you can see the end point of that new line starts 10 mil in from the end. Drag down, 5 mil, enter, and click, escape, go back to trim, right click, click and drag. And it trims the line out. Okay, so I've got my basic shape there in my front view and my top view. I need to fill in my top view. Now you can see I've got these lines indicating that rebate or that groove in the top. So I can just go back to line. I can hover over my point and I can just track a point up. I don't need to measure or offset. I can just track a point up, drag my line up, press the space bar once to escape, press the space bar a second time and it reinserts that command. Hover over the end point, track a point up, left click a second time, and there I have my these two marks indicating this groove. I want to put the rebate in the top corner, so again I'm going to press the space bar to repeat the command. Hover over the end point and drag up, left click to start the line, left click to end the line. And now I've got nearly all that information. The only bit that's missing is this hidden detail showing the groove in the bottom, this bit here. So I want to change the layers, which I go up here to the layer property manager, and I can press on this downward pointing arrow to scroll down and select the hidden detail layer. So now when I click in there and click line, you'll notice that it's changed layers. Click on line. I can once again track the point up to here. Click, drag, escape. Space bar. Track a point back up for the second line. Alternatively, I could have used the offset command, but it's just as quick to use the line command if you use the space bar. So now I've got these two drawings complete, except for the dimensioning, of course. The only thing I've got to put in is the end view. Okay, so once again, I need to offset. So this time I'm going to offset 35 mil in this direction. 35 mil in this direction. So I'm going to go back to my offset. I'm going to type in 35 offset, and I'm going to click on this line and offset. Now you'll notice that I've trimmed this line out by 5 mil, so it's too short. So I'm just going to click on the line, grab the endpoint and stretch it up, type in 5 mil and press enter, and now it's the same length as this line here, which is 45 mil. Press escape, go back to line. Oops, I've got to change my layers back to 0 layer, which is my construction layer. Click on line, go to the endpoint, drag across the width of the object, which is 45, type in 45 and enter. Track the point, press the space bar, and it's all done. Okay, now just got to finish off this drawing quickly by clicking on line again. I can track my point across. Press the space bar. So I've got my rebate in the end drawn in. I need to show the hidden detail of these two grooves. So once again, I've got to change layers, go back to hidden detail, select line, and I don't need to offset. All I've got to do is just track the point across. So track across, start the line by left clicking, end the line by left clicking again, press the space bar once to escape, press the space bar a second time to repeat the command, and then this time I track across from this other intersecting point, left click to start, left click to end, space bar, and pretty much that's our orthogonal block, drawn very quickly using just the line command, the offset command, and the trim command. Okay, the next tutorial will be on dimensioning, so I'll go back and do that in the next tutorial. Thanks for watching.